Our next guest today is Goode, who is the Executive Director of
the Kentucky Association for Economic Development in Frankfort.
I started to say
and a few other things
you
too.
Know what I started to
say?
Washington County Economic Development.
Well, that would be okay.
And I stopped myself thinking now is Kentucky, the Kentucky name. Of course, Hal, at one time, for several years, you were the Economic Development Director of Washington County. And we were sad to see you go. When you left here, how long were you here?
I was here for about 9 years. I worked in tool and die in Lebanon for Central Kentucky Tool and Engineering, and Bob Mattingly, Bill, and Terry, and that's where I really cut my teeth in manufacturing. And then came here, and now it's been just over 3 years that I've led the efforts at, we'll just say KAED instead of Kentucky Association for Economic Development. Well, easy on both of us.
Well, everybody uses acronyms, and I was thinking, now what does that stand for, KEAD? I knew,
Right.
Kentucky Economic.
That's correct.
Association, no.
Yeah, Kentucky Association for Economic Development.
Thank you.
KAED.
KAED. Well, and that's a big job, Hal. You travel with the governor and go to all these conferences. You're always promoting business for Kentucky. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, KAED is a nonprofit. A lot of folks say, well, you're working for the state government. Well, not really. But as Lisa said, she's right. We work with the state government. We work a lot with the governor's office. We work a lot with our good friend Larry Hayes, who is also in Springfield, who is still leading the efforts as our cabinet secretary. And actually, he's getting ready to retire, and they're going to announce his replacement here in a few weeks, I'd anticipate. But we work really close with those state government employees. And we market the state of Kentucky with some different programs. One through KAD is called Kentucky United, where we actually take visits like to Chicago, Detroit, meet with consultants and developers that are looking to relocate, and also we meet with existing businesses. Lieutenant Governor Crit Llewellyn we had the opportunity to take her on a trip to Chicago, and we met with over 35 different consultants. One day, the next day, we met with 30 existing businesses that have their headquarters in Chicago, but have businesses here in Kentucky. Case in point is Beam Global. Beam Global, their corporate headquarters are in Chicago, but I think, we can say Jim Beam has quite a stamp on our central Kentucky area with Jim Beam and Bourbon so close by here to the Springfield area. So yeah, we work real close with that. We also do a lot of public policy pieces, work on different pieces of legislation. We do more instructional type of pieces for our membership. We'll tell them what incentives are available, how to use those incentives, putting tools in the toolbox. That's what we really do at KAED through our nonprofit, and bring together not just only economic developers, but those who are utilities, the workforce practitioners, our state employees we talked about who are involved in workforce and economic development. Elected officials are involved in our organization. So we bring all those organizations together. But yeah, the marketing piece of Marketing Kentucky has been really enjoyable, and we've seen some good success from it.
Yes, yes. Boy, that's a lot of work, Hal.
It is. That's what I tell my wife. It is a lot of work, though, but it's very rewarding.
Yeah. And of course, now we're looking at, I know there are things that are important to your organization that will, you mentioned incentives and things of that nature that are through the state, but also through the counties, through the cities. And so I know you're working with them all the time to try to help market their cities and towns and government or industry. But now we're looking at broadband expansion, aren't we?
Sure. And I think one thing I want to mention on what you mentioned about getting our partners, Daniel Carney at SWEDA is a big partner of ours. We're getting ready to have a conference in a couple of weeks where we're going to have consultants in from Chicago, Dallas, the Omaha, Nebraska area. And what you run into is a lot of these consultants are carrying a lot of these project loads for different companies that are looking to expand, and we bring them in so our partners get a chance to sit one-on-one. Daniel will be able to tell them about what's going on in Springfield, Washington County. Tom Lunn or his staff can do the same for Marion County. We narrow down and funnel it down to where the regions of Kentucky have a chance to see not only the consultants still going to Chicago or Atlanta, but here in the state of Kentucky, so that works well. broadband is just an awesome initiative that's going on. We see the initiative with SOAR, which is the Eastern Kentucky group that is now banding together and working on grants and anything that they can do to highlight the job opportunities in Eastern Kentucky. The broadband initiative that's starting in Eastern Kentucky is just going to spread throughout the state. AT&T, I think the deregulation last year, some legislation that came about, is going to continue to help for that investment for broadband. And I mean, it has come more and more, Lisa, back around. If you're a community that does not have strong broadband in your area, you're going to get left out. So, our leadership, even when I was here, we were using technology that was wireless by bringing in groups that were private businesses to do it, and just start out by putting them on the city's water towers, which helped. But still, that hardwire, strong broadband is needed in every community, and even communities like Washington County and Marion, we need to continue to put our forces towards how do we get close to that 100%. Just like when I started as magistrate years ago, back in, when I started as magistrate, we didn't have countywide water. We had about 25% of the water that was taken care of by the water company. 25% was all the county was covered. So the county got with the city. We did a big rollout. The leaderships were working well together. We saw our leadership in Frankfort work well together. We're close to 93% of the whole county with county-wide water.
Right.
That good, clean water that is in these homes. Now we're seeing the same thing, I think, for broadband. You've got to have it. You've got to be able to have that to be able to be competitive. Some people love to work from home, and some people just have those entrepreneurial opportunities to start a business from home. You've got to be able to do that here and even in rural Kentucky. And I think the governor's done a nice job in this rollout. I think Eastern Kentucky is going to really set the stage for what's going to happen over the whole state in the next 2 to 4 years.
That is very good news, and good for, as you said, for Washington County. And see, with you, Hal, being a magistrate as well for our county, you have the opportunity to be on the other side as well. You see firsthand what the needs are of cities and counties, and that is certainly an asset, a quality that you have that probably many people in your positions in the economic development may not necessarily have.
One thing I've seen it help being a magistrate and being involved in economic development, there's a lot of what some folks will say smoke and mirrors about economic development. Well, what are they doing over there? What's going on? Well, anytime you're working with someone on a personal investment, you really need to make sure it's not anything secretly, it's just business-like. I mean, think about your own business affairs when you go to the bank and things like that. You want to keep them personal. Well, someone wanting to invest in your community, they want to do the same thing. So if you have a economic development director that is working through the steps that someone's asking them to do, they need to make sure that your local officials are informed. Sometimes our local officials get offended by not being able to know from the head in. But I think most of your leadership needs to be able to trust and be involved in economic development. We do that at KED. We want to make sure that our elected officials are working with the economic developers. And we also want to make sure our economic developers, are they giving the information to your mayor, your judge? You don't want to keep them in the dark, but you do want to let them know exactly where you are and the directions you're going, because you're going to need them. Yeah. You're going to need that. You're going to need that buy-in. You're going to need that cooperation from your local government when a company does come to your community.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and how, of course, another quality. Not only being magistrate and involved with economic development, but you're right here from Washington County.
Still here.
Still here, living here.
I love that.
And commuting to Frankfort.
Yeah.
But your heart's in Washington County and in East Texas.
Yeah, easy question to answer when I took this job is, when do you move? And I go, easy, never. I love living in my area, there in that East Texas area with my family and living on the family farm. My wife, Mary Lynn, works at the Springfield State Bank. My kids have grown, and one getting married in April. Yeah. So I might need some advice from you how to get some coupons to get some discounts.
I wish I could help you with that.
They're leaving Dad out of this one, I can tell you. And then my son Matthew's a senior at Eastern. He's really doing well. But I really love my work here, and I love being able to stay involved as magistrate and also in keeping involved in the community. that helps. I was in town the other day for the check presentation with AT&T to the Central Kentucky Community Theater. What a good program, and the program that started years ago, to see groups like that continue to contribute. So still involved in some things like that. Glad to be home every night. That's what works well.
Yeah. And not only that, but you still make time to be involved with the radio.
Sure. Yeah, you know. Been doing that for about 23 years. My background's in communications. Still do the ball games, local news items for 100.9 WLSK, and do some Saturday and weekend things. We do some remotes. We're working with Nell, something we've done for, gosh, I think Nell told me 6 or 7 years we've done the Christmas crafters and marketing, what they're doing there. I know Gary does it for the TV station. It's great to still stay involved in that piece of media. Still love the ball games and doing those.
So do you make all the Washington County football games?
We do Marion and Washington County. So we alternate every week. So I'm here every Friday night doing a game. And in basketball we do the same thing. So you may hear me doing a Marion County game, you may hear me doing a Washington County game. And at one time, that's when we first came back, we were doing it that way. We were doing more of the regional type of games, which really works.
Yeah.
To try and keep everybody covered.
Yeah. Because your degree was from UK?
EKU.
Eastern.
In communications. Did work at the radio station there, WEKU, which is the on-campus station, which is still there, run by Eastern Kentucky University. And then worked naturally here locally, J.T. Whitlock, a name that still rings in this area. He and Cherry Gibson had a chance to work for them when I first got out of school. Just never really got into it full time. Still working on a part-time basis, but the technology's changed so much. It allows you to do so much more, and I enjoy that piece of it, continuing to stay involved with it.
Yeah. Well, I would say though, now you went to, let's see, before EKU, you went to Washington County.
Yeah, Washington County High School in 1981.
And grade school.
Yeah, through the whole thing here in Washington County. Then St. Catherine's College 2 years.
Yeah.
I was at St. Catherine's, went to school with your brother down there.
Right.
We had a great time. St. Catherine's is probably my best memories and the best friends I still have from school. Our St. Catherine's College.
Yeah.
Really loved being around all those folks and being connected with them. And I think being here in Washington County, I really do admire the changes at St. Catherine's, what's happened in the years and how aggressive they are, and the work that Bill Houston did. And now, you know, Bill has stepped aside from the lead role, and you see others who are stepping up now we need to support. So
I just had the inauguration
on
of
Friday.
Dr. Cindy Nattinger.
That was this past week. So yeah, there's still great things happening at St. Catherine's, and I really appreciate my roots there and just getting started in college.
And it makes it nice, Hal, that you have developed all those relationships through the years, and so that allows you, I think, to have a not only a good knowledge of Washington County, but also those relationships, of course, help you in your endeavors to bring industry to Washington County or to the state, or to bring business.
I think I think it's a must.
Yeah.
I think that is the one reason why we have to continue prospecting and recruiting. I think it's a must to continue to do that in some fashion. You know, you may not have to put your total efforts towards. I think workforce development is something a lot of your economic development folks are working on now, which I agree. I think that is the top issue. It's the top priority now for any economic development group to make sure they're working within workforce development. But you have to continue the retention, or the recruitment, but the retention piece is the big piece as well.
Right.
Taking care of who you have. That's where your growth is going to come from. 75% of your growth in your community will come from existing manufacturers. So to make sure that there's a need for a local company is very important. Whether it may be something major like a certain utility, electrical, or sewage that they may need, all the way down to maybe striping on a parking lot. You've got to be able to adhere to whatever their need
Or a
is.
speed bump.
Well, we won't go there. You all are handling that. Or somebody's handling that.
Right, we won't go there. But what do you see, Hal, are some of the concerns or needs that, you know, we have in Washington County that might hinder our I know, as I'm always talking with some of the industry leaders and things, of course the job situation is crucial. It seems like we can't get enough workers. People are saying our unemployment rate is low, and so, but we can't get workers.
Yeah,
is that a concern, a major
oh,
concern?
Very major concern. Not just for Washington County, not just for Kentucky, but really, our entire nation is really looking at the concern. The key is what's your plan? What are you putting together to take care of this problem? How do you alleviate it? I think Kentucky has some really good steps they're taking right now. The Cabinet for Economic Development is doing a program called Kentucky Fame. You may hear it as KY Fame. It is a very interesting program that starts with a program for more of your grade school students to be involved in some of your manufacturing processes, where they're able to come up and learn at an early age. This is what this concept is. This is how they make parts at Toyotomi. This is the type of jobs that they're looking for. These are the skills you're going to need. Then there might be an apprenticeship opportunity to where they can come in and work within this company in high school. But make sure they're taking the right classes. Make sure they're geared towards that job and that opportunity. And I think as communities come around, not just Washington County, but communities, you need to be working very close with your school system and make sure that our students are getting that information as they leave. I mean, it's great when you have a school system that maybe will graduate 5 lawyers and 5 doctors. That's what I'm going to do. Well, how many of those are going to be able to come back here and hang a legal sign out in front of their office? How many more lawyers do we need in downtown Springfield? How many more doctors can we have? We need them. We need them because we're going to need that turn.
We've got several retiring.
But can you handle 5 or 6? Where's that?
Yeah.
Where does that come into play?
Right.
I think we need to be more strategic about that, especially if you have a local company, and I'll say Toyotomi or Inowac, that need 15 design engineers, need 16 CNC operators. Are we gearing them towards that? I think the state of Kentucky is making those right steps. That is what we need to do. Kentucky does rank high in the field of available workforce. Not having that available workforce ready, we need to make sure those numbers change.
Well, and right now, as in speaking with Daniel, we're have been working toward that status of work-ready community.
Yes.
Which includes some of that stuff you're talking about now.
Absolutely. Work-ready communities, if you see that sign and when you hear the announcement here, you're going to be able to know that is a community that's looked to see where are the black holes in our community. What do we need to work on? And when a company looks at that, looking at your community, they're going to look at it as, okay, that's the criteria this company or this county has already completed. So when you see the work-ready signs and you see the work-ready symbol, that community has already made steps to make sure the workforce is ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're always working on helping with those things, Hal, but we've got to also, we cannot end this interview without mentioning, of course, your parents, Norma, and your dad now, who is deceased, who a farmer, and
Yes.
I have to say a very vivacious Democrat.
Yeah, it's almost like saying yellow dog, isn't it? So that's okay. I appreciate that.
And then you've got how many siblings? You've
Yeah, of course, my dad is Denny Goode, and Denny Goode grew up in the East Texas community, and we still live on the family farm, which my mom, Norma Goode, for those of you who know her, you probably know her well. She's a regular at the Senior Citizen Center. My sister Elaine Hurst, she married a local guy from here, Donnie Hurst. They live in Richmond now, and she's taking care of grandkids. My brother Jeff Goode, Jeff is retired, and he's since gone back to work at Toyotomi, but Jeff lives in the East Texas community. He along with his wife Melissa. And then my brother Todd is my next door neighbor, so he's good to have my neighbor. He and his wife Janet and their kids live next to me. My wife Mary Lynn, we've been married 29 years. She works at the Springfield State Bank, so a very patient and good woman. I was very fortunate.
And don't forget, I know you, now Erin, who is getting married.
That's right.
In April. And of course she lives in Lexington. That's one thing, Hal. Of course, we've got, as you said, I mean, we've got to get these young people back here to Washington County. And maybe she's getting married in Lexington and marrying an Irishman.
Yeah. We just got to keep her in Kentucky.
He's involved in the horse.
He is. He is.
A trainer.
He's a horse trainer.
Yes. Yeah. And what is his name?
His name is John Enos.
Enos.
Yeah, strictly. He is 100% Irish, but we love him.
And a redhead.
He is. But he loves Springfield. He loves the county. You know, I'd love to get him out here raising horses or something.
Exactly.
I'd love to, but he loves what he's doing. So just very grateful to have them. And may I say, you know, I get to see your kids. Congratulations to Ben. For you who don't know, I'll go and say Ben works for the Kentucky Association of Manufacturers. He'll do an awesome job with Greg Higdon and his group, and Ben's been working with my group. Your daughters, you know, Blair, and then Kate just getting married. We shared the same office building for a while, so I know you love to see your kids as well.
In DC,
they're wonderful people. They're wonderful kids.
And we'll have to work on getting her back as well.
I told her, her husband at the wedding, we got to get him back here to Kentucky because more than anything, we need Kate back here. So, but they're a great couple.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And so I'm glad that, Hal, that you have continued to stay here and work for us. Oh, and congratulations to you on your award. And of course, you've received numerous awards through the years, but this last award was the, tell me what it was, Hal.
Business First of Louisville, they do every year, they do a survey around the state to pick the top 20 of those that are making an impact, whether it be in finance, whether it be in law, whether it be in medicine, or whether it be in economic development. And this year I'm humbled to say that I was picked in the top 20. So very gracious, nice honor. It's one of those that you don't sign up for. Someone recognizes what you're doing, and naturally, you know, I do put in a lot of time. I do enjoy what I'm doing. When my statements were given to them, I reflected back all on Springfield and Washington County, things that either I've done here or that we're doing here. I think they have that impact on what I do statewide every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah. Well, now you just keep working on all of these things for Kentucky, but be sure you focus on Washington County.
I'm not leaving 883 Texas Road, but it is. I appreciate TV6 and you taking your time to do programs like this. I recognize the time it takes, first of all, but I think, you know, programs like this are great to get back to, you know, our local folks, to let them know what people were doing. I saw Nancy Hale earlier, and I think you wound up saying everybody loves Nancy Hale. What a great statement, because everybody does love Nancy Hale. So please keep up the good work on this with TV6.
Well, thank you, Hal, and I look forward to seeing all the great things you're going to be doing in the future.
Thank you.
And I hope that when this wedding's over that you still have a few dollars in your pocket.
I've got every parishioner at Bethlehem Baptist Church on my side praying for me, so I think I'm going to be okay.
Okay.
I think I will be okay on that.
Well, great. Well, thanks for being on here
Thank
today.
You, Lisa,
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.